I moved in next door to my husband's parents. Privacy is gone. I'm desperate and feeling like giving up on everything. How can I fix my marriage? I'm 27 female and my husband's 29 male. We got married this year after a few years of dating. It was a rough start because of the bachelor party. We agreed on a simple dinner and activities in the afternoon for both, no bars, no clubs. We agreed literally came from him. He obviously went to the bars and clubs, and more was in the plans, and then requested all his friends keep it a secret from me. I found out, it blew up, almost didn't get married. We decided we'd move back to his hometown to have a more quiet life after the wedding. His parents had an empty house available, so we moved there, about 5 feet from his parents. I was concerned with being so close to his parents because they always try to be very involved and cause us issues in our relationship. But my husband promised that he would shield me from that and try to give me as normal as a life here as possible. Just for context, I wanted to move to my hometown. Bigger, better options for schools one day, etc. But he wanted to save money and move into this house, so I gave in. The reality of living here is that I feel like I've lost all my privacy and in part my independence. Every topic or issue becomes a family community issue. He talks to his family about everything, lets them know everything. A simple delivery man coming to the house to deliver something big ends up in a huge discussion with his parents because they butt in and want to help. I came home, his parents are there to greet me. We leave for a trip. He goes to give his mother a kiss goodbye and tell her where we're going, how, and when we come back. The mailman leaves my mail at his parents' house. His aunt is trying to decorate our house for us, and just the other day left a plant at my door and said that she bought more because the houses need to be decorated and she wants to do it. His other aunt needs something delivered and we're leaving the house. Of course we'll go drop it off. I'm an unwilling part of the community. Now to some people this might be perfectly fine, but I'm the person that has no social media, tells no one about my life, likes privacy, independence, figuring things out alone. And I discussed this with my husband. He is aware of this, but he doesn't care. I feel betrayed. What can I do? I've talked to him, but he doesn't understand me. Am I in the wrong for refusing to attend my brother's funeral? So, for some background, I, 23 female, had an older brother, Lance. He was 8 years older than me, and he absolutely despised me. Ever since the day I was born, he hated my guts and set out to make me as miserable as possible. Reason being was that he hated having a sibling, especially a sister, and was happy being an only child. Saying that he was a bully was a major understatement. Our parents initially ignored it, as they thought it was just normal sibling rivalry. But when I was 5, they finally locked into his behavior and tried their very best to correct it. Nothing worked though. He only got worse and worse and meaner and meaner. One incident stands out in my mind. I was 6. He locked me out of the house when there was a tornado warning. Out of all the things he's done to me, that was the worst because there was an actual tornado on the ground and it almost hit our neighborhood. When I was 10, he graduated high school and then moved out. The last thing he said to me before he left was that I was worthless and would amount to nothing. Thankfully, that was the end of his days of bullying me. In the 13 years that have passed since Lance moved out, we've only seen each other on a couple of occasions, one of which being his wedding, and he ignored me on all of them, didn't acknowledge my presence. He has 2 sons who I don't even know or were even introduced to. He told me that I would never amount to anything, that I was worthless. Well, I'm in nursing school hoping to fulfill my dream of becoming a nurse, and I have a wonderful doting boyfriend. 2 weeks ago, I got a call from my mom. Lance was coming home from work and he lost control of his car, and it wrapped around a streetlight. By the time the ambulance got there, he was already gone. I only felt heartbroken for my parents because you should never have to bear your own child, but I felt nothing towards him. I made it clear to my parents that I was not going to go to Lance's funeral, not after his years of abuse. They were not happy. They begged me to go, saying that I need to be the bigger person since he's dead and can't hurt me anymore. I need to be there for them, and I don't know the pain of losing a child. I understood how they felt, but he never once apologized for all of his years of abuse, not one word of remorse or regret. They tried insisting that he was a changed person, but I stood my ground and did not go. My abuser did not deserve my grief or my presence. If he had apologized, then I might have attended, but he didn't. My parents were absolutely furious that I didn't show up and announced that they will never speak to me again, and they haven't since. My boyfriend stands by my decision, but I've been getting nothing but backlash from our other family members, saying I should have just swallowed my pride and went to Lance's funeral. So, am I in the wrong? Am I in the wrong for banning my brother from bringing his Indian girlfriend to my wedding? I know it sounds racist, but let me clarify. So, my brother, he's 25, has been dating an American-born girl to Indian parents since last year. She's 23. Her parents do not like their relationship because he's white and probably prefer her to find an Indian man. He's been trying to gain their approval but failing, and from what he said, they continue to shrug him off and actively exclude him if she tries to bring him to their family events. This has annoyed me because my brother is one of the nicest people that I know. In the meantime, I proposed to my girlfriend and we're sending out invites to everyone. I came to the difficult decision that since the girlfriend's family will not accept him, we will not accept her. I talked it over with my girlfriend and told her how strongly I feel about this, and she agreed. I didn't want to spring this up on her, so I asked his girlfriend if we could meet up, and I sat down with her and explained that in good conscience, I could not invite her to our wedding if her family cannot accept my brother, and I essentially boiled it down to, if they don't want my brother, we don't want you. I told her that she'll be banned from all of our future family events until something changes with her parents in regards to my brother. She got upset about it, and this caused a huge divide with my family. My brother is obviously against it, but I wanted to do it out of support for him. Other relatives agreed that this was the right thing to do, but I've been seeking judgment from outside of my family to gain a clearer perspective. If I was being an a-hole in making this decision, so am I? Am I in the wrong for not punishing my son after he came up with a pretty elaborate plan to peep on the neighbor girl topless in her backyard? Lots and lots of ugly background here, but I'll try not to wander. My wife and I have been separated for 2 years. Ink to paper on an ugly and contentious divorce in May. I have primary custody of our 2 kids, daughter 17 and son 14, and live in the home which we've owned for 20 years. On Monday, I came home to find my son and 2 of his friends up on our little roof to our little sun deck. I asked them what he was doing and if he was being safe. They said they were playing army, and since I've coached the other 2 kids in mountain biking for almost 6 years now, I knew their parents wouldn't mind either. So I told him to put the ladder away when he was done and to keep his phone on in case I needed him to come down. I was actually most perturbed because he didn't put the ladder away, so they did this every day this week until Thursday when my daughter came home from her sit job and in her ever so sweet and acerbic tone asked me if I was really so stupid to think that my son and his friends were playing army, and to let me know that the real reason is that our 22-year-old neighbor was in her backyard topless and Aiden had set up a perch on the sun deck to get a better view. I climbed up thinking that she was just trying to get him in trouble, but sure enough, the deck had a perfect view where I assumed the girl had usually sat. I told my son to knock it off and he said he would. This morning, I got an angry knock on the door, and it was my ex-wife and the neighbor. They've been friends for many years. Apparently, the neighbor called my wife sometime midweek, and they had agreed that they would confront me and my son Saturday morning. We sat down, and it went from a calm, "this is something we're concerned about," to accusations of me being an irresponsible absentee parent and my son leading an adolescent sex ring in a matter of seconds. I try to remain calm and explain that they're just acting like 14-year-old boys, and I've gotten them to stop. My wife asked if I plan on punishing him. I said I don't feel like he did anything punishment worthy, and rather that this was a learning experience about respecting people's privacy. My neighbor said that if he were her son, he'd be in intensive psychotherapy and medicated. I told her that was really overkill. My wife told me not to talk to her friend like that, and I asked him to leave before it got any more nuts. My wife has texted me saying that I'm being incredibly irresponsible, and if I don't do something, she's going to her lawyer to revisit the custody arrangement. In all of that, she called me an a-hole several times and said it was more miserable being divorced from me than it was being married to me. So, am I in the wrong for how I'm handling the issue with my son? Am I in the wrong for convincing my girlfriend to abandon her child so that we could be together? I, 32, have been dating my girlfriend, 28, for a little over 2 years. When we first met, she was a single mom to a 7-year-old boy from a previous relationship. She never planned on being a mother and had him due to unfortunate circumstances. She's always been upfront that she felt trapped by motherhood and didn't have much of a bond with her son. As we got more serious, she started expressing how much she wanted a fresh start, a life where she wasn't held back by her past. She felt guilty about it, but admitted that raising her son alone had taken a huge toll on her mentally and financially. I told her that if she truly felt that way, she should consider other options, including giving full custody to her ex, who has always wanted more involvement, or even a close relative like her mother, who has her son for the majority of the time anyway due to her job. He had been asking for it for a while, and she just didn't seem ready to be a mom. She told me that she didn't feel like she was cut out for it, and after hearing how much stress it was causing her, I thought giving him a stable home with his dad would be the best for everyone. After a lot of discussion and hesitation, which lasted months, she finally made the decision to give full custody to her ex, move to a new city with me. Her company had to open up a new branch here, so she had to move anyway and start over. She says that she feels relieved, like a weight has been lifted off her shoulders. But now, everyone in her life is calling her a terrible person, saying I manipulated her into abandoning her child. Even though I never forced her, they see me as the villain for convincing her. Now, a few weeks later, her son called her. He was crying. He said that he missed her and didn't understand why she wasn't there anymore. Hearing that completely crushed her. She's been really upset, and honestly, I'm torn up too. I thought I was helping, but now I'm questioning everything. I feel like I made the wrong decision, like I pushed her into something that's hurting both of them. What should I do? I'm developing a crush on my wife's cousin. How long until these feelings fade? I'm 33, my wife is 34, and the cousin is 33. My wife's cousin's name is Candace. This is a terrible situation I found myself in. I should say I genuinely think I have the greatest wife, Anna, in the world, and it's not even close. She's an amazing woman, mother and wife. When I met her, she approached me at the bar and I was flattered. We hit it off almost instantly. She was nervous, but I found it cute, and she said she doesn't normally approach guys but wanted to talk. Later that night, her cousin/best friend came and my jaw was on the ground. Candace is just a fucking gorgeous machine. Everything about her, but it was too late. I did wonder how different things would have been if I met Candace first, but 10 years later, I would say things worked out great. We got married and have a great little girl. The thought had completely left my head until recently. About 2 months ago, Candace had to drop something off and I took off while my wife was at work. She had borrowed my laptop because hers broke while she gets a new one. We were just talking and drinking wine, watching 90 Day Fiance, and she confessed to me that when she showed up, she thought I was handsome and it sucked that I was already talking to Anna. My jaw was on the ground, and I told her that when I saw her, I was like, damn, and wishing I saw you first. And then she said, is that so? I immediately changed the subject, but my heart was pounding. Eventually, she left and went home. She later texted me saying that she just wants to hook up one time and that she would text my wife that she needs help fixing her dishwasher and to reply yes or no and then delete the conversation. She said she would understand either way. I just said that I'll be over there and deleted the message. I waited and my wife said that she'll take care of our daughter and that Candace needs help with her dishwasher. I went over there with zero intention to have sex with her and to let her know that we can't do this. But unfortunately, things went the other direction and we ended up doing the deed. We agreed it was just a one-time you only live once moment and that was that. Unfortunately, that moment started up bringing old feelings I thought was gone. She became much more flirty discreetly.
I've started being distant towards my wife. We both know that we can't act on it, but I kind of wish we could be together, but it would hurt too many people and I can't do that. But at events, we become closer. I had food on my face yesterday and she was wiping it off. That annoyed my wife, who said that she can wipe off my husband's face. She even complained about it in the car, but I reassured her that she's overreacting. Yeah, I'm in a sticky situation and just need help removing my feelings before things get out of control. How can I lose these feelings so I can focus on my family?
Am I in the wrong for wanting to end a 30-year friendship over what my best friend found on her fiance's phone? I, 35 female, have two best friends. Let's call them Laura and Jessica. We're all the same age and have been friends since childhood. Despite being friends since we were 6, Laura and I have grown apart for many reasons which I won't go into. We still all refer to ourselves as best friends despite there being some more distance between us. Laura's engaged to a guy that she met in the state that she lives in now and where they both attended school. Let's call him Ryan. Jessica and I have only met him a handful of times, less than 4 times. He's quiet, a little weird, not amazing but not the worst. At this point, they've been together for about 2 years and their wedding is in May of 2025. This is Laura's first long-term relationship, which I think plays a role in why she's still with him after what happened. One day, Laura and Jessica are talking on the phone and Laura tells her how after confronting Ryan about him never initiating intimacy, he told her he was gray sexual. Now, this isn't the perfect definition, but this basically means asexual, but there are very rare occasions where he gets aroused. Needless to say, Laura and Ryan do not have the most robust, intimate life. Keep in mind that I only know about this because Jessica has told me. I have not heard it from Laura directly, but setting the scene here, this man is not sexually intimate with her and clearly doesn't want to be. That would absolutely bother me, but it's their relationship, not mine, so who am I to judge? Fast forward a few months, Jessica and Laura are talking again and this story comes out. Laura is at Ryan's family home for the holidays. They're hanging out with his friends from childhood and one of their girlfriends. Laura's on the couch with one of their girlfriends and asks Ryan to take a picture. He does and says he'll send it to her later. She says, "Give me your phone, I'll send it now." She opens his phone and somehow stumbles upon a folder of pornography, and the first video she sees is someone getting fellatio from a young woman. Laura naturally gets upset and is screaming at Ryan in front of his friends. She runs upstairs and locks herself in his room. She tells Jessica she realized that the women in these videos were girls she recognized from Ryan's Facebook and that they are people that he knew from high school. Turns out, Ryan has been making non-consensual AI pornography of people. So he's not gray sexual either, clearly, and that was yet another lie. There have been so many red flags from this guy on top of all this, including stuff with money, prenups, my friend has money, but this is just the icing on the cake. Personally, when Jessica told me, I was disgusted, but if you can imagine, it gets even worse. Fast forward a few months and it's time for the bachelorette party. There are several people invited on this trip, and many of us haven't met yet because of different friend groups. We're home friends. She has friends from grad school in different states that we've never met, etc. Now, everyone is on the trip and getting along great. We get really comfortable with Laura's friend from grad school who we're meeting for the first time on this trip. She ends up telling Jessica that she's also aware of the AI pornography and has had no one to talk to about this because she didn't know anyone else in Laura's life. The real kicker here is that Laura failed to tell Jessica the real story. Remember how she said she recognized the woman on the videos from her fiance's Facebook? This sounded weird to me from the get-go, because how did Laura study the faces from Ryan's FB friends from high school so well to recognize them? But I was like, okay. Well, the reason she recognized the people in the videos is because apparently the people were actually guests at our mutual friend's 60-person wedding, including myself, Jessica, and our other friends. So Laura told all of this to her grad school friend, but completely failed to mention this to Jessica when she told the story. Likely because there are non-consensual AI porn videos of myself, Jessica, and our other friends on her fiance's phone. I am disgusted by this. This is a crime, and beyond that, it's just a complete violation. Beyond that, how can my best friend want to be with someone like this? Isn't she embarrassed? Honestly, the worst part to me is that she didn't tell us he has these videos of us on his phone. I'm sick over this and I don't think I can trust her ever again. I do not want to attend their out-of-state wedding and I don't even think I can look at her again. She's not aware at this point that I know all of this. I will have to address it if I don't attend their wedding because she'll ask why. Part of me is ready to end our entire friendship over this. Am I overreacting?